Welcome back, guys. This is Fearful Hog. So, I haven't made a Rivals video in a while, but last night I was streaming and this idea for a video just popped in my head, so I had to make it. So, I used to make some Rivals videos and I want to make this one because I never made a guide on how I play. And because I'm an Autoshoot player and most players who play Rivals aren't Autoshoot players, I decided I want to make a guide on my opinion how to play Autoshoot. So, a few things before we start. This is an auto shoot guide, but if you don't use auto shoot, I mean, you can still use this build. It'll still probably work for you if you can still hit your shots. But because I'm a level 270 auto shoot player, of course, this is going to be geared towards auto shoot, and it's directly geared towards specifically, you know, console auto shoot, like using controller, because mobile auto shoot you have a third person, and because I don't play on mobile, I don't exactly know how to incorporate any third person text into it. So it's mainly based on controller auto shoot, but I'm sure if it works in like third person as well, you could also apply this to mobile auto shoot. With that being said, this is all subjective. What I'm going to say in this list or this video is just going to be my personal experience as someone who's put days of my life into this game as an auto shoot player. And I know that a lot of players that don't use auto shoot stigmatize auto shoot. So I decided, hey, if no one else is going to make an auto shoot guide, might as well be me. I think I'm pretty up there in like amount of people that are qualified to talk about auto shooting. So that's what this video is going to be. With that long intro out of the way, let's get into the guide. So first, I'm going to start off with loadout. I mean, this is what matters the most in the game. This is what you can actually choose. This is what you should aspire to, especially if you're starting the game. You don't want to waste keys on items you're never going to end up losing. So I'm just going to go from where you begin. So starting off with primaries. This is the most important part of any player's kit, let alone an auto shooter. So my first personal pick is sniper. I mean, this is the cream of the crop when it comes to auto shooters weapons. I mean, this is it. It can kill instantly if you hit a headshot. All you gotta do is aim at the head, and then it kills with auto shoot. Of course, very good weapon, even not being used by an auto shooter, but in the right auto shooter hands, fine. Um, it can be so deadly. Sniper is really good, although there is a few issues with it. Number one, it's really susceptible to someone using the katana against you. If the person you're against is really good with katana, they can pretty much destroy you if you're not exactly skilled with sniper, or you don't have much ability with sniper just yet, because maybe you're just starting playing auto shooter, maybe you just start playing rivals in general. So it is dangerous, and it's also the fact that it gives a movement debuff. It gives, I believe, a 10% debuff. So for my option two, I would like to put forward a crossbow. Very similar in a way to a sniper. It kind of shoots in the same way, although a few key differences. Number one, it doesn't give a speed decrease. So it's quicker, it's fast paced. It does a bit less damage though than sniper. It doesn't kill a headshot, it only does 75 damage. My buy shot's like 35, so it's pretty meh damage wise. But it's really good for training. It costs like half the keys of a sniper. And something's also really good, it shoots through katana. So instead of actually having to deal with a katana, blocking your shots, especially if you're starting just like new with the weapon, you can shoot through katana. So both of these are really good options. Maybe if you're just starting rivals altogether, maybe it's a better idea to maybe first aspire towards a crossbow. See if you really enjoy crossbow. If you don't enjoy that playstyle, maybe this guide isn't for you. Maybe try and find your own way. But if you end up enjoying the crossbow, maybe later on once you get 70 keys, you should buy the sniper as well. See if you enjoy that, because sniper is really the peak of like auto shooting, in my opinion. And then we get on to secondaries. Secondaries is kind of an interesting field, because I think you can probably invest into secondaries last, maybe, although they are very vital in certain ways as well. But secondaries are very versatile in the fact that handgun, which is the default secondary, is a really good weapon. So you do not need to immediately switch off of a handgun like you really need to for an AR, for someone that doesn't play with an AR. And by the way, oh yeah, I was supposed to mention like options I wouldn't go for with the AR. So an option I would never go for with the AR is personally bow. I feel like the bow with auto shoot is completely useless, because most great bow players that I ever see are using the bow in such a way that they want to get power shots and then hit them accurately. But with auto shoot will just automatically make you shoot, so you cannot do the power shots. Bow is just terrible with auto shoot, in my humble opinion. And the weapon I say might be okay is an AR. You can head glitch sometimes and get some easy headshots with it, but it doesn't fire as quickly if you were just holding the shoot button down. So AR is kind of an okay option, but my actual two for primary, of course, is crossbow and sniper. Back to secondaries. It's unlike primaries where you don't need to immediately get off of your primary. You don't need to immediately go away from handgun because handgun is versatile. Although there is two very clear best options in my humble opinion. First would be by far Shorty, because ever since I got the Shorty, it's always stayed in my arsenal. I mean, apart from like very small blips, which is something I can't even say for my sniper. Sometimes I've gone through like eras where I want to use crossbow, sometimes even burst assault rifle, but the Shorty has pretty much been a constant on my pick on my loadout since I got it. It's so good. I mean, it's so good. It's even better than the shotgun primary in most ways, in my opinion. It is such a good weapon. It can clear close range so easily. And I feel like it gets so many buffs as well. Like, I really don't know why, because I feel like apart from handguns, it's by far the most used secondary, at least from my like experience. Um, but if you're really struggling at mid range, especially if you're using crossbow, or maybe you can't hit your shots at mid range with sniper, a revolver's a really good option. Because especially for auto shoot, you can't aim in with a revolver yet. But um, with auto shoot, you don't even need to aim in. Just have your cursor above opponent's head with a revolver, and it will automatically shoot. You don't even need to aim in. Well, you can't aim in. But that's another thing with crossbow as well. You don't need to aim in. With sniper, you do. But that's a double-edged sword, so I didn't really mention it. It's a double-edged sword sometimes, but the revolver is really good for hitting long-range shots, finishing off kills if you know you can get two shots with the sniper on the body and you can't get the last one. Taking out the revolver really quickly is a really easy way of confirming a kill. Both of these are really good options. I personally go with Shorty all the time because I love the Shorty. Shorty has a really good synergy with an item I'll be mentioning later on, but for now, I need to say Shorty's really good. Revolver's really good if you're not hitting many mid-range shots, but I'd say Shorty all the way for secondary, at least in my opinion. Melee weapons is a field where I believe there's only two answers in melee weapons. So the first answer is katana. Katana is, in theory, should be a sniper, and by extension, very much so, a sniper auto shoot player's worst nightmare. It is probably the biggest obstacle you will need to face as an auto shoot player, because if you just auto shoot willy nilly, someone can just use a katana and they will kill you instead of you killing them because it reflects the bullets. But if you can master the katana, not only do you learn a facet of how your enemies play against you, so you learn better how to counter it, it is also such a good weapon to use. Not just against snipers, though. If someone's really good at using Aora, Burst, like pretty much any weapon, as long as it's not one of them, really pay to win weapons where it can shoot through things like Katana and Riot Shield, then you will be in the good if you learn how to deflect. And even if you're not hitting your deflects, even just having Katana is very good deterrent, because whenever I am playing against someone and I see they have a Katana, it makes me worry about the shots I'm taking. It might make me go for body shots instead of headshots. Because I know, hey, if these guys can, actually time their redirect well, they can kill me no matter what. And I'll never shoot for their head unless, I can bait out their katana. So sometimes even if you're not even using it actively, just taking it out sometimes might scare your opponents enough to actually affect them. And second option is something I had for a long time before I appreciated how good katana is. And it's actually what my opponent is using against me right here. It is the Riot Shield. This is very good for both passive and active use. I mean, if you're not using it actively, like I usually never do, even when I used it, I always had it on my back. It's still extremely good for like running away from someone, because if you turn your back to them, then they can't shoot you unless again they're using one of them very special weapons, which are pay to win. That's neither here nor there. But if you're using it in the front, it becomes something like this, where it becomes pretty much impossible to hit, unless you're using again a weapon that can shoot through it or a utility that can shoot through it. So it's an extreme annoyance if you use Riot Shield. It will get people tilted, although using auto shoot in any form will probably get people tilted against you anyways. So, might as well go all the way. But in my opinion, just because of how good the katana is, just using it properly, I think I need to put katana above Riot Shield, although both of them are still really good options. I mean, if you feel like you don't want to learn any redirection, I'd say maybe choose the Riot Shield, because that will just make it impossible for enemies to hit you from behind, and also if you take out the right time, it will make it impossible for them to hit you in the front. So, Riot Shield is a good option, but in my opinion, katana is just it's the creme de la creme, really. And now we have utility / throwables / consumables. This is a area I would say I had absolutely no care for. It was the most mediocre area until I found an absolute love. So my first option is going to be the one that I don't use anymore. Mixing it up this time. It's the Molotov. Molotov is really good. You just throw it on the ground. It burns pretty much. I mean, it's very good to close off areas, especially if you have low HP, but you know your opponent also has low HP. It's nice to use katana. It used to be really nice to hit two body shots with sniper and then use the Molotov to confirm the kill. But that's back when snipers did 70 to the body, now they do 50. So it can't really be used in that way anymore, at least not as effectively. So it's kind of fallen off there. But Molotov is still really good for area control, stopping like people being able to roam into you if you're kind of scared of that. But it has no candle at all to my love, the freeze ray. The freeze ray has some issues, but ever since I've used it, it's been my baby, man. I've loved that weapon so much. I mean, look at this, man. I just froze that guy and it wins me the round. In fact, it ends up winning me the match, I believe, if this is the match I remember. But regardless, the freeze ray is such a beautiful weapon. I absolutely love it. Sometimes there's issues with elevation and like it's right beside someone, but it doesn't actually freeze them because they were standing slightly above it. And then there's other times where it freezes you and you feel like you're a mile away from it. So it has some consistency issues, but if you can master the freeze ray, you unlock pretty much another playstyle inside your sniper playstyle, at least for me. Because a match like this, I would have just completely lost if it was just me using sniper. But because I have the freeze ray, I pretty much have two things, two entire playstyles in my loadout without even needing to change a single weapon on my actual kit. The freeze ray and the shorty are a beautiful synergy, which I feel like no one can go wrong with, in my opinion. For a utility I wouldn't recommend, I'll just say a flashbang because honestly, I feel like 99% of the time I ever see anyone using a flashbang, I mean, it does nothing. They just throw it up into the air. And the second I know that, I mean, I see it up in the air, I know, okay, that's nothing but a flashbang. I just look away from it. I don't know. I know some people use flashbangs really well, but I feel like 95% of people don't use it well. And considering I've never used it, I have no way of, telling anyone else how to use it well. So all I can say is maybe stay away from flashbangs. And now we're done the loadout point of the video. Now I want to talk about how to actually play. Because I've given you all the materials to how I play the game, and I need to explain how I actually play. So, there's many different ways to play Rivals. Many different ways, I'm sure, even to play the kit I play. But specifically for the kit I play I play slow, I play kind of predictably, but it gets me results. So if you want to be flashy, then this isn't the playstyle you should be going for. Although, if you're just beginning using Autoshoot, or by the way, this guy's cheating in case you're wondering, if you're just beginning Autoshoot, or you want to start using it better, then this is how you do it. You play slow, you play defensively, and something I also love to do is this is something you'll gain more with once you actually learn the game. If you're playing on a map quite a few times, especially Arena because everyone plays in Arena, and then you know where opponents will tend to end up. If you aim there before they even go there, if they pass, above your cursor with their head, that is an instant headshot. So it's funny. Most people use auto shoot as a way to kind of just immediately hit their targets, but sometimes I feel like I use it as a trapping kind of method. If you know the best sight lines and you know where your opponents are more predictably going to end up, then you can just get free kills with auto shoot. Unless they're using katana, then they can free kill you if they're playing 60 chess and they know what you're doing. But again, that's kind of something you need to learn with time. Learning the exact places where you should be aiming, where you shouldn't be. There is other ways to play. I mean, there's like the exact opposite of how I play. I guess you could play really quick sniper, but that is not how I play. And I feel like sometimes people play really quickly, like blowing themselves up using C4 to get high into the air, or using a launch pad to go 6 trillion miles an hour in on Arena. I feel like sometimes it's more style than substance. I feel like a lot of the time, if I just stay rooted to the ground and I aim at where they are, I can hit them in the head and I get the kill. So I feel like some people are more than happy to trade in some potential victories for some potential style. But me personally, that is not me. So if you want to follow this kit 1-to-1, I would say just don't spin around. Try and hold your location pretty much all the time, and just try and land shots. That's how I play. It might get people to say, "Oh, you're a boring player." I mean, although as I said earlier, you're probably gonna get people giving out to you anyways for playing auto shoot because for some reason people just love doing that. At least to me, I don't know if everyone that plays auto shoot gets that, but at least to me, everyone loves giving out about auto shoot. So might as well lean into it and play in the best way, which I feel like will get you the most wins. This is going to be a map section where I'm going to talk about, the various maps on Rivals, which ones I think you should, if you're beginning the game, which ones you should try and lock into if you're trying to play my playstyle, and which ones you should probably stay away from. So, first thing we need to talk about is Arena. No matter what map you like to play, or no matter what map you will choose, you will be playing your majority of your games on Arena. Because unfortunately, the majority of people that play Rivals only want to play on Arena for some reason. Arena's not a bad map, but if you end up playing Rivals as much as I do, you'll probably end up hating it just because how much you will be playing it. Because for some reason, every single person that plays Rivals really wants to play on Arena. So that's the first thing you need to know. This playstyle is really good for Arena, especially the freeze ray shorty aspect of it. I mean, because sometimes if people are playing really quickly in Arena, it's hard to hit headshots. But the freeze ray shorty part of the kit really does counter that. Uh, my favorite map, Dock. I feel like obviously I'm gonna be biased there, but it's really good with this playstyle. Obviously, I mean, it kind of makes sense. My favorite map would work well with my playstyle, but it's the perfect blend of long range, medium range, and sometimes short range. All of the kit can come into play, and none of it is like too overwhelming. So if you're not great at like shorty gameplay or you're not great at freezing, you won't need to be doing that too much. And if you're not hitting many snipes from long range, it's still not too big of a map where you can close where you can't close down. So you have to use sniper. You can close down here. You can stay far. It's a very balanced map in that way, and I absolutely love it. So maps I wouldn't recommend playing on is Backrooms. Backrooms is just a terrible map overall. But because most people that pick Backrooms will just be doing it because they want to speed tech around the walls and like blow up and like bounce off the walls. That's a crazy play, by the way, and I absolutely like respect people that play like that. But that will pretty much be the antithesis to this play style that I've put out today. Because if someone's moving too quickly, your auto shoot will not shoot them. So anyone that's choosing Backrooms will probably be choosing to play exactly that way, so you probably won't be able to beat them. So just a word of warning: if you do see Backrooms, be prepared to maybe try and switch up your gameplay because, again, most people that are choosing Backrooms will be choosing to just bounce around it like a pinball on cocaine, probably using explosions. I guess Graveyard also wouldn't be a good map for Autoshoot. Well, I guess another bad map again, but not only is it a bad map, it's also a map that is like very open. It doesn't have clear sight lines. So as I was saying earlier, like about predicting where enemies are going to end up and aiming there, specifically getting ready to shoot them, kind of is null and void if your opponent can come from like 16 different angles, and also could hold their like various 30 other angles either. So you won't be playing either of those maps very often, but be very clear. Those are two I would avoid if you want to learn this kit. And I'm gonna get into like additional kind of tidbits, I guess, and maybe other builds you might want to build into if you do end up playing this. Auto shoot. So if you end up not liking the sniper, of course, as I said, you go into automatic weapons. You'll be a bit nerfed by the fact that it does not full auto fire, really. At least not as quick as like just spraying yourself using auto shoot. It's not going to be the maximum capability. So if you're trying to specifically maximize, actual use of auto shoot, I wouldn't say AR is great. But if you enjoy AR and you're maybe like, maybe sometimes just having auto shoot would be nice, then I mean it can work. As I said, going speedy sniper is something you can do. I'm sure it works with auto shoot as well. It's just most people that use it are usually mouse and keyboard, just because speed tech is easier to do when you're using a mouse and keyboard, of course. Another thing I'd say is if you don't really want to use Molotov or Freeze Ray, a medkit can also kind of be used if you're playing on a bigger map than like Arena. If you're playing on something like Crossroads or maybe sometimes Dock, I feel like you could probably get a medkit off. The only issue with that is if you're not hitting your shots with Sniper and you're a beginner at the game, like medkit won't make you better at hitting your shots. Like at least the Freeze Ray and the Molotov supplements, your playstyle instead of actually. Or no, they make it only supplements it where the Molotov and the freezer completely changed it. And the last thing I will say before I go into the outro is people will probably, as I've said earlier, get on you if you're using auto shoot. I mean, at least I know it happens to me. I'd say ignore them. Unfortunately, with competitive games, people will just be toxic, and because uh, unfortunately, a disproportionate amount of people on Roblox feel like they should voice their, often toxic opinions. You probably will see a lot of mouse and keyboard players, and sometimes, funny enough, even like controller players that feel like, oh, I'm high and mighty, so I don't use auto shoot. You'll have like quite a few people like that saying, oh, auto shoot player, bot, blah blah blah. Just try and ignore that. That being said, though, thanks for watching the video, guys. Like if you have liked, subscribe if you haven't already, and send this to a friend of yours that uses auto shoot. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.